Like, hi, Dixie.
Dixie.
This is recording just for you. We hope you enjoy this. The show will start in about 7 minutes.
Love you, Dixie. Miss you. Bye-bye.
Her wedding night. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's her wedding.
Good evening, everyone. That was awesome. Thank you. I did prepare some things to say this evening, but before I do, if you are new to this campus and just coming up for the film showcase, there are restrooms out here. Take a right and down this walkway and into the building. It's connected to this main barn. There's a bathroom on the first floor. There's some up on the second floor. There's a camera, a fixed camera, just focused up here, not on the audience. It's primarily to send a recording of this to a woman named Dixie Goswami, who's not here tonight. So on the count of 3, let's say, hello, Dixie. 1, 2, 3.
Hello, Dixie!
Great, thank you. My name is Tim O'Leary. Many things. Father, a husband, a public school principal, but my role as the director of What's the Story is one that continues to shape me in some of the most meaningful ways. The program, about to enter its 11th year, has grown through shared effort, experimentation, collaboration, and for me is part of what next year will start or be the 2-decade journey making media with youth. It's moved from interest to intrigue to really a vocation, continuing to teach me what it means to trust youth, to listen deeply, and to lead alongside others with conviction. And tonight, I hope, is a reflection of all of that. Before I say anything else, I'd like to invite all of our student filmmakers, our site leaders, and our Beyond the Page facilitators to please come join me here in the front of the room. These opening words are mostly about you, they're for you, and they're possible because of you. I want to offer a special thank you to Craig and Lindsay and Mads from Beyond the Page for spending time with us this morning. I'm going over here so I can see you. Together we explored what it means to move from being behind the camera to standing in front of an audience. This work isn't just about creating films, it's about becoming someone who can take space, make space, and hold space to invite others in. Tonight may look like a film showcase or screening, but it really is not. Tonight's about witnessing something far more meaningful, change makers in the process of becoming. These young people have spent the past year asking hard questions about themselves and the world around them, and then taking the courageous step of responding, not with silence or resignation, but with voice, conviction, and action. They've learned to research, to listen, to revise, to collaborate, and persist. They've confronted complexity and uncertainty, and now they are standing up to share not just the work they've made, but who they are becoming through it. What's the Story is a program that centers youth, not their products, but their process, the skills they've practiced, storytelling, empathy, inquiry, civic engagement, aren't just about this film or that footage. They're about becoming lifelong leaders, learners, and contributors. These are the habits of mind and heart that fuel meaningful change long after these final credits will roll tonight. So while we will see parts of their films tonight, that is not the main event. In fact, each film will be represented only by a 5-minute excerpt intentionally. It's not because the full films aren't worthy. It's quite the opposite. It's because we want to give space to the full range of voices and topics and lived experiences that this past year's cohort has brought to life. You'll hear from students across Vermont, Virginia, New Mexico, Kentucky, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Each of them is here because they've chosen to engage, to care deeply, to take risks, and to grow. The full versions of their films are accessible by the links and the QR code on the program. Many have been playing around campus today and will continue tomorrow. I hope you'll spend time with them. But again, this evening is not about films. It's about these filmmakers. And to the educators in the room, I want to offer this. We must make more space for this work in our classrooms. Every English language arts teacher by that name or any other should be seriously considering the role of digital composition alongside traditional forms. What happens when students explore author's craft, not only through poetry, but through the creation of a 60-second documentary, or just watching one? What conversations emerge when we treat information, story, and poetry not as separate written genres, but also as essential elements of a single, powerful, and digital narrative? Tonight should not only move us, it should inspire us to think, to rethink, to act, to shift small things in our classrooms. To our youth filmmakers, thank you for showing us what it means to be a public thinker and creator. You are not waiting for adulthood to make a difference. You are doing it now. To our mentors, site leaders, families, and partners, thank you for standing beside these young people and behind them. And to all of you, not this fly, but to all of you, thank you for being part of this community of witness. Tonight's showcase will unfold in 3 acts, with a brief intermission between acts 2 and 3. In each act, a filmmaker or a team of filmmakers will introduce themselves and their work before we screen a short excerpt of their film. And after all the excerpts of an act have been shared, those filmmakers will return up here for a brief question and answer session. Act 2 will conclude with a special moment of recognition, followed by an intermission, again before Act 3. Thank you all for being here, traveling across the country to share your work tonight. Please feel free to take your seats. You could hear it in my voice that I got a little emotional as I shared that with you. And I kind of jokingly shared a strategy with some folks earlier this afternoon, and I messed it up. Because the strategy would be, if I started to get emotional, I'd stop and then tell people where the bathrooms were. Now let's step into Act 1. Here we go. It's my great pleasure to welcome our first filmmakers to the podium to introduce their work and get started with this evening's conversation. We're going to have Ezekiel and Quentin come on up here and introduce their film.
And I'm Quentin. Tonight we're proud to introduce you a powerful project named Our Friends, a short film about domestic violence in South Carolina.
So domestic violence is a topic that is really home for me. My mom experienced it with my dad. That's something I experienced like through middle school. And that's something I didn't expect to experience at that age. So when I heard my friends making a film about this, it really hit home.
For me, one of my best friends my junior year, I realized that not only was she trying to hide her bruises, but she was hiding her smiles and her laughter. It made an impact on me and my other friends because we saw that she was not herself anymore. So I tell this to say that domestic violence is real. This is our short film.
And even when it comes down to domestic violence being real in South Carolina and Vermont, it said that nearly every 4 out of 10 women and every 3 out of 10 men reported domestic violence. And in 2020 alone, there were 7,700 cases made for domestic violence, and nearly 17,000 hotline calls were made as well.
And help does not reach everyone. In Vermont, 71% of shelters requests went unmet. That means people asked for help and did not receive it.
So the goal of our film is to bring light to domestic violence survivors and those who are in certain situations, making sure that you are seen and heard.
If you ever felt scared, isolated, or trapped, this film is for you. If you haven't experienced it firsthand, it's time to understand how real it is. Let's not just watch, let's listen, let's support, let's change the way we talk and respond to domestic violence. Here's the film. Thank you for showing up and paying attention and standing with us.
The emotional toll of domestic violence runs deep. That's why support from professionals, organizations, and communities is essential. No one should have to carry this alone. Which is why CT is dedicated to supporting those in need and clarifying just how broad domestic violence can be.
Hello everyone, my name is CT. I'm a licensed master social worker at the Department of Mental Health. I work with individuals who have SPMI. That just means severe and persistent mental illness. So domestic violence is one of those factors that may affect some of my career because when my clients deal with intimate partner violence, it is a need that has to be addressed in therapy. When left unaddressed, it can lead to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and various other trauma and stress-related disorders, which can increase depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, and other mental health diagnoses. Everyone deserves to feel safe and experience healthy relationships, and that there should be more support and just awareness in general about what domestic violence and abuse is, because it's such a broad spectrum. According to the Department of Justice, domestic violence can be physical, sexual, emotional, economic, psychological, or technological. Actions or threats or other patterns of coercive behavior that influence another person within an intimate partner relationship. This includes any behaviors that intimidate, manipulate, humiliate, isolate, frighten, terrorize, coerce, threaten, blame, hurt, injure, or wound someone. So that's really broad, right? That's not just, oh, someone hit me, or oh, someone's not sharing money, or oh, someone called me a name, right? Domestic violence and abuse is huge. It encompasses a lot, right? And that often just gets kind of thrown under the table. We don't talk about technological abuse. We don't talk about financial abuse a lot. So a lot of times, women and men don't even know they're being abused because they've never heard of some of these.
While professionals like CT offer therapeutic support for victims, the first line of response is often much closer to home. Trusted adult, school counselor, or even a family member. This counselor shares her experience.
One of the things that I did when I first came in is I met this 16-year-old, and her story was just a story of abuse. I take kids kind of at their word. I don't need an adult to verify what they said, and I just try to support them. And it takes you to some dark places sometimes, and it's really hard to go into those dark places for some people. Not everybody's equipped for it, and so I don't encourage it for every counselor. But for me, depending on the situation, I try to do what I can. And the whole goal is to stabilize them enough, because education is the vehicle to save them. Education is the vehicle to get them out of this hamster wheel they never can get off or something, you know, and because they don't have the power, or, you know, the parent or the guardian or whoever they live with, or the foster care system that they're in, they don't really have their voice heard. I think the way it's just shaped me is to try to empower them and stabilize them as much as I can in my role. I can't fix everything, but I'm going to try to do what I can, where I can, and if we can get them to graduate, sometimes that's going to be the biggest highlight of their life, and I'm proud of that, and I'll show up when I can.
Beyond the support of trusted adults, victims of domestic violence have immediate access to resources at the national and local levels. Here in Aiken, Cumbie Center is an organization offering services, education, and advocacy to those in need.
Next, we're going to have a film from some folks from North Carolina. Can Maria and Shalia come on up here to introduce this film to us?
Hello, my name is Shalia Torrance. I was at Warlick Academy, but I am currently at Ashbrook High School.
And this is our presentation.
When kids get in trouble, where do they go? They come to Warlick.
My name is Faye, and I'm from the G, of course, G-Town.
My name is Tiana, and I'm from Monroe.
They automatically think that it's so bad school, and they be like, oh, like, no, I don't want to go there, I don't want to work there. Them some bad kids, they don't got their school together and stuff like that. Cause I done heard it plenty of times, so it's just like, dang, I ain't gotta talk about our school like that. We ain't that bad. We really don't be doing that. We just can get out of hand a little bit, but we working on that. We getting ourselves together.
Well, when I hear about it, they just swear it's like a commissary cell. Like, they just swear somebody got a shank in here, or if you come in, it's just like fresh meat, so you off bat gonna fight. Like, basically trying to make it seem like it's worse than what it really is.
What I think about Warlick is, I don't think it's that bad, but like, I'm not gonna lie, when I first came here, I didn't like this school, but then as I started getting used to it and stuff, and being around like all the teachers and getting close with them, it's like, now I actually like it. It's like, this is my home, and now that I'm gonna get out, it's like, I don't want to leave nobody, but it's like, I got to, because I gotta get out of here. I want to play basketball and stuff, but it's really not bad. Like, it can, some days can be terrible, but most days it don't be that bad. It's just chill, for real.
What I think about Warlick, in my opinion, I feel like this would be a school I would graduate from. I'm not even gonna lie. At first, I was a little uncomfortable when I first came because I ain't know nobody. So, as I started getting used to it, it started feeling like home. Like, I thought it was gonna be like how other people was basically painting a picture on it, until I actually had to see for myself. I really like it. I ain't gonna lie, low-key don't want to leave for real, because I'ma miss it. But other than that, I like Warlick. Warlick, it feels like home.
There are many reasons why students act the way they act, and one of the culprits is homelessness. According to Gaston County Schools homeless student data in 2023 to 2024, 722 students identified as homeless.
After I got pregnant, my sister ended up getting us kicked out of our house. And since my mom is on a fixed income, we didn't have the money to go get a new place. So for 8 months of my pregnancy, we lived in a tent. And my nephews ended up coming and moving with us, so that made it a lot more difficult. And not having any money to get a house made it even more difficult. And then the cars broke down. So then no transportation, you kind of just get stuck and stranded. So when I was homeless, would be like, it wasn't warm sometimes at night, you were cold, it'd be raining, so your tent would get full of water, not being able to get food or anything, no transportation, place to place, not much support from family and things like that. This impacted my education experiences by, well, technically, I dropped out before I found out. No, when I found out I was pregnant, I dropped out, and that was right before I went homeless. So being pregnant affected that more than going homeless, because I never went back until now.
Thank you, Harley, for sharing. Harley is no longer a student at Warlick Academy. She transitioned out, but we still keep in contact. I dedicated the following poem to her before she left.
Dear Harley, I wrote this for you. I wish you happiness in all that comes to you. I wrote this to say I will always love you. Near or far, you'll never be forgotten. I'll make sure to remember all your pretty smiles and laughs and all that we did have together. You were always my friend, and I'll always be your friend. You will always hold a special place in my heart because you always knew how to make my heart start. And through all the bad I've ever been through, every time I would get to see you, I always felt brand new. And as if the pain had all just washed away, because that's how bright you shine, just as bright as day. So bye until we meet again. So long, my favorite friend. For this goodbye doesn't mean forever, but until we can both go across the rainbows of friendship together. And I want you to never give up and always try, because in my eyes, I'd like to think my Harley could cross over the highest of skies. And when you feel sad or hopeless, look up for me, for I'll always be here to believe in you and push you to thrive, because I believe and I know you can do what you put your mind to. And I'll always believe in you, even when it may seem no one else will, because you never failed to believe in me, even when I felt I couldn't do it. You've really impacted my life over this short time we did have together, and I'll always remember all the good you brought me. I'm sure you've been through a lot, and yet you're still able to say you made it. You've come so far, and through it all, you still were able to shine like a star. Continue to bloom and make sure to cover little man with all the warmth in your heart. I know you'll be a wonderful mommy for him, and I know he's going to be so proud to call you his mommy, because I was always proud to call you my friend. I love you, Harley. Bye.
Thank you, Naraya and Shalia, for that film. The next film, or excerpt, is going to be presented by Tiani.
My name is Tiani, and my documentary is about O&M. And O&M is orientation and mobility for blind and visually impaired people. Where they travel and cross streets safely. I made this film because it's important to know about people and people's vision, and to know that you won't bump into someone that you didn't know that was blind or visually impaired.
is Robert McClendon, and I'm the Orientation and Mobility Specialist here at KSB. Orientation and mobility is a vocation where you help individuals with low vision and blindness orientate themselves to environment, learn about their environment, how to move around safely in their environment, and how to use a cane if necessary for traveling in their familiar and unfamiliar environments. And again, it's all about safety and smart travel. O&M is very important because it helps individuals. Well, unless you plan on living your life in a bed, you have to be able to get to work and to school and to places you want to go to. Like, I know some folks like to go to the mall. So you want orientation mobility skills that allow you to get to the places you want to go to, the places you need to go to, and again, how to travel safely and with purpose. I would personally, my goal for all my students is for them to be as independent as possible. And every student's going to have a different level of independence. Your independence level is going to be different than, say, someone else's. So that's what I want. I want you to be as independent as possible, and I want you to be happy and successful as well. What people most misunderstand about O&M is it's a stick versus a cane. How many times has someone called your cane a stick? So that's probably a big pet peeve for O&Mers, is calling folks canes a stick.
My name is Bo Mullins, and I teach career education at the Kentucky School for the Blind. I have retinitis pigmentosa, and what that means is how it affects my vision is my left eye is totally blank. It doesn't see anything. And then in my right eye, if you hold up a McDonald's straw in the right corner of your eye, that's about what I can see out of. And then if it's too bright outside, there's too much light getting into my eye, so I can't see. And if it's too dark outside, because retinitis pigmentosa attacks the rods and the cones of your eye, I can't see. So in the summertime, I really struggle seeing. When it gets dark, even if there's street lights, I can't see anything. So another thing that I learned that is very valuable in orientation mobility for me is I'm good with a cane. I prefer to use a seeing eye dog. And so I'm on my third seeing eye dog. I would say the scariest part about O&M is when you're first starting out and you are an independent traveler and you're in a new, unfamiliar environment. It can be a little scary, a little overwhelming. You just have to stay calm and remember what you learned and how to get yourself in and out of places and in and out of scenarios. And it's always easy to rely on friends and family when you get scared, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So I need orientation mobility because I like to walk places. I like to use Uber and Lyft. I like to use public transportation to get places. Without orientation mobility, you're kind of stuck at your house. And most people would not like that. They like to go places, they like to be social, they like to be independent. You're not really independent if someone is driving you around everywhere, guiding you places. And so, you're really limited on what you can do if you don't have good orientation mobility skills. The most important thing I've learned in O&M is that there are certain situations where you just cannot be independent, and that is okay. I rely on my seeing eye dog, I rely on my cane, but in some situations you just can't rely on those things and you have to ask for help.
Can Christian come up and present his film?
Hello, my name is Christian Greenwell. I'm from the Kentucky School for the Blind. My documentary is about teenagers, and it affects teenagers' mental health in a good way. We all think that fishing can be boring sometimes, but with me, with my family, fishing is a really good thing for me because I get to go outside, be out in nature, just to see everybody, and I think it's really good for teenagers because if you're in this bad state of mind or you have something on your mind, just go out and go fish. The nature's gonna be all around you, the beautiful scenery. It'll get your mind off of it. So I wanted to do this documentary for this, and yeah. I'm Christian Greenwell. I'm a sophomore here, and I'm 16 years old, and I'm doing my documentary on the effects on fishing that affects teenagers' mental health. I think I like about fishing. I think it just helps me relax, and it's kind of fun. Just it's really fun just to help. Helps me with my mental health, gets me outside. It feels rewarding to catch a fish and all that.
When I go fishing, my favorite type of fish to catch is bluegill because I fish close to the shore. There's lots of them. They're pretty easy to catch, and I just have more fun doing it.
My favorite type of fishing is crappie or bass fishing, which I like bass fishing because it's just all you gotta do is just tie up a lure or a soft plastic, make a texture and all that. I like to fish with my brother and my dad, mainly my brother because he likes to help me out a lot, and me and him, we like to spend time with each other, and I think it's a really good thing that me and him get to spend quality time with each other. I think I would tell him that, it's not really scary to catch the fish. I think all it is just getting outside, it'll help you feel good about yourself when you catch that fish you really want to be catching and all that. Usually, like lakes. I haven't really got to fish the Ohio River yet, but I think Lake Cumberland's really good. All that, and like lakes, ponds. There's a pond by my house that I like to go fish, and I caught a pretty nice bass. I think it is just being out in nature, just hearing the birds, just hearing all the creatures around you, and just being outside makes you feel good, and when it's sunny, and you get to be able to catch that fish.
Fishing is relaxing because you can take your mind off of things and you can focus on just catching the fish, thinking about how am I going to outsmart the fish? Where do I cast my line?
My name is Mr. Stan Torzeski. I am a teacher at Kentucky School for the Blind. Lover for ever since I can remember. I've loved being outside. We go on family trips. I've been to lots of national parks, state parks, local parks. Love being outdoors, specific to my mental health. Regardless of your belief system, meaning like religion, I feel like there is definitely, at least for me, a spiritual connection. A spiritual connection that I don't really get anywhere else. Connection to the universe, to God, what have you.
Ezekiel and Quentin, Naraya, Shalia, Tiani, and Christian all back to the front of the room for a short question and answer.
And if you do have a question, just raise your hand and I'll bring you the mic.
So you've seen excerpts of their products, but the questions could be about the topics or the process or some of the choices you saw in the products. We'd love to hear a couple questions or comments from the audience, and we'll pass the microphone around up here.
Thank you all. I really enjoyed your segments, your 5-minute segments. I think you chose them really well. My question is for all of you, and it's about something that happened at the end of Christians. I love the music Christian, and my question is, for those of you who chose music and those of you who didn't choose music, what was that process like? Why did you pick that song, Christian, to end your thing? And why did you all who chose to use music or not chose to use music, why did you make that decision?
Because it was very peaceful. Just like how I said, fishing is very peaceful. So I think it was a very peaceful song of me fishing and all the pictures, so.
As for the music in our film, the person who did our music was going to college for music management, so we let him take over.
Other questions or comments?
I have a question. These were all really, some of them very heavy topics. And I want to know, when you were thinking about what you were going to make your documentary about, how do you choose your topic?
I chose mine because fishing's been a part of my family for a while, as I know of. So just be able, it helped me, it helped my brother, it helped my dad. I thought it was very close to my heart. And it helps me go out, when I go outside, it helps me, just gets me away from the thoughts that I have, or as in some other people's cases, it might help them too, so, all right.
I chose mine because I wanted to share what it feels like to be visually impaired and blind.
I know for our Aiken site, we had like 3, maybe 4 topics, and then we would write them on the board, and then we picked the most that's important to us, or the most we feel like people will pay attention to. Because I know we did mental health, we did homelessness, and we had like 2 other topics, and domestic violence really spoke out to everyone. So.
We picked the topic because it's something that we need to focus on, and it's a bigger problem.
We chose homelessness because we wanted everyone to hear out why everyone was homeless and how they became homeless.
Another question or comment?
You all did a really good job interviewing people. And I wondered if there was something you learned in that process that you would want us all to know about what's important when you're interviewing somebody.
I think it was important to do that and have that connection with people that it helps them it affects them in a good way. Like both of my interviews, both of my teachers, they had that close connection with me about fishing and being out in nature and how peaceful it is. So I think it really taught me just good interview questions if you kind of understand. So yeah.
Similar to what Christian said, I learned that it's easier to interview someone when you have a connection and a relationship with them. You can relate with them on the topic better.
But as a teacher, I mean, it's pretty amazing to ask adolescents, young or old adolescents, to go out and talk to like real people face to face, right? And to figure out like who you should go talk to. I know I'm not supposed to be answering questions, but that process, it's like call them, use a phone and like call the number, right? That we can find. Let's go visit them. I mean, it is a different way of communicating that sometimes we're not used to, and it's uncomfortable and uncertain and unfamiliar. It's pretty beautiful to navigate, I think.
And Tim, can I say too? And they did a wonderful job. This is our first go around with What's the Story, and I know specifically Naraya. I know specifically they're a little shy. Naraya preferred to be behind the camera, and she just did a wonderful job of just reaching out, calling people, just doing her own research. And the same thing with Shalia as well. Shalia was there day one. We got Naraya in January, and she just came in again, just commanding the camera. She didn't want to be in front of the camera, but behind the camera though, learning so many techniques. So definitely being the first year, not too many words, but behind the scenes, definitely appreciative of all the work they put in.
Maybe time for one more question or comment for this group of filmmakers.
Trying to think of how to ask this. So being that this is a project type that you guys had to do, does it stop here? I see passion in what you did, and there's a reason for it. So does it stop here? Did you only do it because it was something that was presented to you to do? Because now that you're all in it, you can make a difference. So do you plan on doing so? Does it stop here?
All right. I don't think so. When we got presented to do it, I was, hey, I think this is really interesting. I think, I didn't have a topic right away, but I was like, you know what? This is really interesting. It can affect somebody's lives out here. It could just affect anybody's lives. And I think my topic was really good. All of our topics are really good. So, yeah. All right.
I would say no, because we did an activity earlier, and I told the youth, I told our mentors as well that we have a voice and people need to hear it, right? So I would say just stopping here would just be like a blockage. So I would say keep on going, to be honest, because there's no point in having a voice if you're not going to use it. So.
No, ma'am, it does not stop here. The purpose of our video was to bring awareness to the situation so that more people know about it, and so we can work on it as a bigger group together.
Can we give one round of applause for this group of women?